71. That one. Because sooner or later, we knew Edward Mitchell would be here. He's just the kind of guy that's going to be there at some point in time. We've been talking about Edward for the last couple of days. He is a local product. He works part-time for the Jackson Center for Independent Living, part-time for the Jackson Generals, and just generally keeps himself busy. But what we want to talk about this morning with him, after we find out a little bit about Edward, is his trip to Washington to testify in front of the big politicians in the nation's capital. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How is everything in Edward world?
It's going great. Enjoying the weather, the atmosphere, the people of Jackson. Just glad to be back.
It's a good spot, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Pretty good spot. Let's talk about you. For people who have not had the opportunity to meet you, tell us a little bit about your background. Are you originally from Jackson? Are you?
No, sir. I'm not originally from Jackson. I moved to Jackson, Tennessee from San Leandro, California. My dad had got a job transfer here.
Right.
And just enrolled in Northside High School. And that's when my life took a turn. I had a hit-and-run accident on Ashport Road near Blankenship Automotive on March 29, 2003, which left me with a spinal cord injury, an incomplete injury. And from there, it's just been a daily grind to get back to work, school. I was blessed from the people of Jackson to support me, to, come visit me in the hospital because I was new to Jackson. Our family was new here. And just the people of Northside High School, being able to stay behind me, supporting me. I was able to go to the Shepherd Center. I was able to come back to Jackson, go back to high school, go back to work at Little Caesars Pizza at Kevin Colbert, and just really kind of get my life back going the way it needed to go.
What was it like in those early days? Was it difficult to get over that hump, to see that there actually really was the future that you had in mind, or something near that?
Well, I had to have forgiveness in my heart, which I did and still do, because I tell everybody I'm blessed to still be alive, but I'm glad it happened to me and not my little brother, who was also biking that day. My little brother is strong, but I don't think he would have been able to overcome these obstacles and hurdles that I've had to do.
Right. What was your main motivation when you went to the Shepherd Center? The Shepherd Center is in Atlanta, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, and they deal with traumatic head injuries, spinal cord injuries, and have had I think Nick Bonaconte maybe was one of the old football player back in the '70s.
Yes.
Was one of the founders of that situation down there. But when you got there, did that give you a little bit of, you see a little light at the end of the tunnel at that point?
Yes, sir. I have a positive outlook on life, so I knew after my hit and run accident I had to get better. There was no promise of a tomorrow for going to such a renowned place like the Shepherd Center. So once I got there, they let you tour the facility. They let you see people that are a lot worse off than you and a lot better than you, and show you that through hard work, therapy, what you could progress to, but without getting those fundamental blocks. I consider it boot camp style therapy. If you don't get it now, you can't live a long life.
Right, absolutely. That pretty well tells the story, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
That will sober you up in a heartbeat.
Yes, sir.
In a heartbeat. Now you work part-time for the Jackson Generals, and you do what with the baseball team?
I'm a fan relations coordinator. I'm a liaison between the front office and the fans. With the fans, if you're trying to advertise your business with the Generals, if you're looking to get suites, if you're trying to find out information on players, who's been called up, just anything. I'm that face between the front office and the fans to really put that smiling face and someone they can identify not only at the stadium but also in the community to, just being more informed about the Generals and with their progress.
All right. Now, we're on Facebook Live also, 93.1 and Blue Suede Forever, so you can see Edward's smiling face. This is rare in a radio show, but we're able to be able to do that. Now, you're also affiliated with JCIL, which I am affiliated with also in the role of a board member. That's the Jackson Center for Independent Living, and your duties there, and what do you do with JCIL? Tell everybody about it a little.
Well, after being a board member, our great director, Ms. Beth James, thought it would be great for me to see the day-to-day operations. So after leaving Lane College, because I was employed at Lane College as an academic monitor and dean of students, she said, come to JCIL, you're a board member, let's change your role a little bit and see the day-to-day operations. So now I'm involved in direct consumer contact. So trying to help people find grants, trying to do wheelchair ramps, trying to connect people, if they want to go back to work, connecting them with voc rehab. Just really being the jack of all trades to help people stay independent as possible in their own homes, but also furthering their lives.
JSIL, of course, we celebrate each year and have a celebration for the community of the signing of the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. Now, none of us, when we wake up in the morning, like you did that day 15 years ago, never thought that you would have to deal with anything like that. And I don't, fortunately, but I do have a daughter with a disability in my family. I work with people with disabilities and nonprofits on a constant basis. And those of us who are fortunate enough not to have to deal with those situations really, I don't think, have a clear handle on what the difficulties are in dealing with them. Now, they're different for different disabilities,
yes,
obviously,
sir.
But you are what is known as a chair user.
Yes, sir.
And you're paraplegic or?
Quadriplegic with consistencies of a paraplegic.
Okay. You're a hybrid.
Yes, sir.
Okay, not burning any gas. He's a hybrid all by himself. So just give us an idea. What does Edward deal with from when you get up in the morning? What are your challenges that you face other than making breakfast and getting to work on time?
Challenges, if I have nursing care at night, getting going in the morning, is the wheelchair charged? Making sure I get my bag together because I stay on the move at both jobs, so making sure that I have all my medical supplies or things that I need to get done, to help me accomplish the day. From there, making sure that my wheelchair van is going, because wheelchair vans are very expensive, and to get them serviced, you have to take them all the way to Memphis. And like me, I'm trying to push for a new wheelchair van, and they're very expensive, almost $110,000.
Wow.
And just making sure that I can go throughout the day. Are your wheels on your wheelchair aired up and inflated? And just for me, mine is a little bit more simple because I'm in a power chair. I just lock into my van and go. And it's really just going the progression of the day, making sure I don't wear myself out. But I've kind of conditioned myself for a full day of work at both jobs, and just making sure that I pace myself, but also that I'm giving the best, output to both jobs. I never want to slack on anything. I want to give anybody 110% of me all the time.
People who have businesses around, and JCL has helped a lot of people get jobs in the community.
Yes, sir.
Star Center does, Madison Haywood, and a lot of people working to get people with disabilities that opportunity. You obviously got that opportunity. You have seized it and made two careers out of it at the same time. But how difficult was it on the front end to get into that first work slot? Did you have a problem early, or were you one of the lucky ones?
I was one of the lucky ones because originally, working at Little Caesars before, when they first reestablished here in Jackson, Tennessee, Kevin and Rachel Colbert saw something special in me and encouraged me to work. And even after my accident, saying that they would make any accommodations possible to Little Caesars to make sure that I would, come back to work. And from there, Kevin has really encouraged me to, keep going, keep striving. That's the reason why I graduated from Lane College with honors. And right after attending Lane College, I went on to Union University to get my master's. And right now, I'm working in a nonprofit. I'm working for the Generals, but also, a great former employer and friend, Kevin Colbert, is encouraging me to, be my own, small business owner. Wow. So I'm just trying to live life the best as possible and just make those, decisions to better myself and better my future.
Right. You're well on the way. I guarantee you that. Now, you got an opportunity that most people in this world will never get, and I'm assuming it was an opportunity. I'll let you make that call. It would scare some people to death. You just returned recently from Washington D.C. back in July, I believe, middle of July.
Yes, sir.
And you testified before a Senate, was it a Senate panel?
Senate subcommittee hearing.
Subcommittee hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Most people will never see the inside of that room and would be terrified to do so. First of all, why was the invitation issued to you? And then kind of walk us through what was going through your mind. Because it's more than just walking in the door, sitting down and saying, hey, y'all, here's what I want to tell you.
Yes, sir. Well, I actually earlier this year I was selected as a ABLE national spokesman. And ABLE accounts are 529 type savings accounts that are set up for individuals with disabilities to allow them to save money without jeopardizing their Social Security, Medicaid, or any kind of waiver programs. It lets them save, money for the future and just really be able to live a more fulfilled life. So after being this national spokesman, Bob Corker, our senator, reached out to the ABLE account individuals and said, we need a Tennessean that is both working, that has also been through the trials and tribulations of life, may have been, unemployed, but has continued to work. We need somebody to come to the Senate and come speak. So after being confirmed in many interviews between the Democrats and Republicans, that Friday of I think the 15th, I was confirmed, and it was time to get my written testimony together and then cut down that written testimony into a 5-minute oral presentation.
Wow. So you had how much lead time? 3 days?
3 days.
And they say the government don't work fast. No, so you got it on the 15th, and you had to testify on the 18th.
Yes, sir.
And in the meantime, you had to make travel plans and hotel plans and all of that.
Yes, sir. And then also with my speech, cutting it down so that I could fit it into a 5-minute oral presentation.
Right.
So sending it to the different aides and different speech writers so they could see and really review and really help me get the main points across, because, after you have your 5-minute oral presentation, the senators go into a question and answer phase, and that can be, tremendous and intimidating if you're not prepared.
Sure. I probably should know this, but the ABLE Act itself, the ABLE account that you're
Yes, sir.
that you're the spokesman for, is it on the books at this point, or is
Yes,
it still
sir.
okay? So
It's on the books. There are about 30 different states with ABLE accounts. In some states you can join. So in Tennessee, if you don't like the way the Tennessee investment options work, even though Tennessee has 14 different investment options, you might find one in Ohio that works better for you, or one in California. So, there is a comparison tool. If you go on the ABLE National Resource Center, you can compare different ABLE accounts in different states to see which one fits you best.
you can cross state lines.
Yes, sir.
That's a good feature. Now, what was that? Why was that put in place? What difficulty did that overcome?
That allowed individuals, especially, family members that are aging, what do you do if a family member passes on, if there's a life insurance policy, or to filter money, from one family member to another? This allows them to save money, because anybody that's on a waiver program or SSI knows once they get above $2,000, those government aids are cut.
True.
And the ABLE program allows you to shift up to $14,000 a year with $350,000 in a lifetime to this account and not have it count against any kind of program.
So it is in effect, I guess, something like a 401k or
Yes,
an
sir.
IRA for people with disabilities.
Yes, sir.
Long time in coming and long time needed, without a doubt.
Yes, sir.
I know with our situation, with our daughter, we have to watch that checking account like a hawk.
Yes, sir.
She, like you, works in the public sector, and she has benefits coming in from SSI and other places, and every time they send that quarterly or semi-annually report, we have to go check and make sure she doesn't have too much money. And not only is that not fair, it's just wrong.
Yes, sir.
There is no difference in. See, I need to say. I start to say there's no difference in your needs and my needs, but there are. Financially, you got to pay the same bills that I have, and
Yes, sir.
some more.
Yes, sir.
And the people with disabilities needed this boost in order to get this done.
Yes, sir. And one of the things in my argument to the senators was trying to extend that gap, because that $2,000 limit in 2018 is not realistic. These were set limits that were set back in the 70s that just don't equal what today's income is, and then just the cost of living.
Right.
But also, I tried my initiative, and something I want to see pushed is somebody like me that's a chair user that has gone on to get their MBAs and PhDs, actually a sliding scale. So as we climb the ranks of our careers, we would pay back into the waiver program, because I'm paying, into Social Security like anybody else.
Sure.
But having that sliding scale, meaning if I start earning $60,000 or $70,000, I'm paying back into the waiver program, so the waiver program is still being funded and not being drained.
Makes sense. It makes sense. It absolutely something that needed to happen. And I think they picked a great spokesman in you, because you live it every day.
Yes, sir.
You carry the credibility where a politician or somebody on the outside that's trying to make a buck on the insurance, maybe not. Now, in the real world, you get to Washington D.C. and you go to I believe it's held in the Dirksen
Yes, sir.
Office Building.
Yes, sir.
And how many senators were in the room? How many other testimonies were in the room? How did that look?
It was amazing. There were 5 senators to start off with, but then depending on the different committees they sit on, they were in and out. We were, close to, I guess, where the Russia investigation was taking place. One of the senators said, he was so glad to be in this committee hearing on aging and disability, because he felt like it would really affect change. So it was, different senators in and out, their aides in and out, but they really stuck around to really get the message, but also make sure they get the written testimony so they could really better advise themselves when it comes time to passing these laws on to what's really going on.
Are there amendments to the bill or to the law on the table now?
Yes, sir. There are different ones, such as also extending the age, because right now, for you to have an ABLE account, you have to be injured prior to age 26.
Right.
And as we know, most people that are getting injured, TBI injuries, other spinal cord injuries, are getting hurt post 26. So they're trying to extend that age at least out to 46. So then it's more of a catchment. So then people can, save, because there's no difference. If you got injured today or if you were in your 40s, you still need to be able to save money and not have to deplete, your 401ks, your family assets just to be able to provide long-term care for that loved one.
Exactly. Man, this is a wonderful thing, and I congratulate you, number one, on being chosen, because they see something that is going to be very useful to making this program more viable in the future. Obviously, or they wouldn't have chosen you. But you've really taken this on. I can see the passion in your face and in your eyes when you talk about this. And obviously this is not just for Edward. It's for anybody with any disability.
Yes, sir. I encourage anybody, if you're on a Medicaid waiver, if you're on SSI and you were injured before the age of 26, sign up. Go to the ABLE National Resource Center. Look at the different ABLE accounts. Sign up. It's totally free, and it helps you save more and invest in your future.
Do you need to contact an attorney or a banker? You can just do this all
You
direct
can do it
online?
all on your own. The
Wow.
ABLE National Resource Center, and compare. You can go to ABLE Tennessee and compare Tennessee's ABLE account. You can do all this on your own. There's no risk, and it doesn't hurt. It's just a way for you to save without you affecting Social Security, Medicaid, or any other kind of waiver programs that you might be on.
Absolutely. Edward, I really appreciate you taking the time. We ran into each other at the JCL office the other day, and
Yes, sir.
you gave me the information. I said we need to make this happen, and I apologize for the accommodations. I wish we could be a little closer together, but that happens.
Hey, yes, sir, but it happens. There's always, you can't let this barrier stop you.
No, absolutely. I don't think that will ever be a problem in your case. Edward Mitchell with us this morning, supporting economic stability and self-sufficiency as Americans with disabilities and as their families age. That was what he testified on in a subcommittee of the United States Senate back in July, and carried the banner of Jackson and West Tennessee and the disabled very well, I'm sure.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure, sir. We'll see you soon, and I'll let you go and get back to work.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Edward Mitchell, our special guest this morning on the Mid-Morning Mix at 93.1 as we continue on this August 1st morning.